some maple here, ambrosia maple. I'm going to put it on the lathe. I used a drill bit there, Forstner bit, to create a little mortise that'll go over my chuck, and we'll get started. So let's see if that's gonna. I need to zoom out some. Okay, we're gonna try it right there. So, trying to get an idea of what all this looks like. I need a little different tool rest. Curious as to where I am there. Not so bad. I'm gonna put a live center in here. Move this tailstock up. Give me a little better. Try. Gonna start with some. Ooh. Turn on my dust collection here. Head. Square up the side. I can tell it's not round. Let's see how close we're getting. Well, just this one area right there. We'll go ahead and take another bite. I'd like to go ahead and straighten that top up a little bit. I think I'm going to do an OG shape here. And I want to leave some rim to mess with there a little bit. And I'm going to have my foot about the way it is now. And somewhere out around here, once I start that corner, this is probably where I'll transition that OG up. And so let's just play with that now. Actually, I want my tool rest closer. I sort of want the predefined shape of my scraper here in this corner. That's what I'm going to use. Okay, let's see how bad my turnout is. Hello, if you just joined or just left. Tear out is horrendous. I got this hole right there from something. Let's see if I can work on that tear out a little bit. Got rid of half of it. Telling you that wood's a little punky there. I'm going to stabilize it a little bit with some sanding sealer. I made it feel a brush to put this stuff on. I'm going to do the whole surface. It is just soaking in there. Crazy. I normally don't do this. This is sort of a first time attempt for me with this brush. And this stuff is a little punkier than what I normally get to turn. I'm hoping to stiffen those bristles up some, those rings. Make a better cut. All right. I'm gonna take a little paper towel. I meant to turn the speed of the lathe down. I just showered myself with some shellac sanding sealer and Everclear. Better take this smock off before I get in my car and drive someplace. Hello, if you just joined, I just put a bunch of sanding sealer on the outside of this ambrosia maple bowl that I was making here. It's just crazy amount of tear out. I'm not great at dealing with tear out, but even with a scraper, not able to get rid of it. Hopefully the stuff is already dried up a little bit, and I'll be able to take a nice smooth cut here with this scraper. I was watching Thomas Law recently, and he was talking about how people are too aggressive with their scrapers, getting a little more tear out than they should. So I'm trying to be really, really gentle and non-aggressive here. Oh, I've gotten rid of a bunch of it. There's a bunch on this rim too. I think I'm gonna angle this rim towards the foot a little bit. Let's see how it looks. Well, significantly better. Let me work on this transition to the foot a little bit. And the foot itself. I'm going to use my little 3/8 inch spindle gouge here. I'm going to put a little detail there in the bottom. Not good with details like that. Trying to get better at them recently. It's significantly better. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little more sanding sealer on there. Then I'm going to work on the foot while the sanding sealer sort of dries. I'll come back to the sanding sealer to set up more. Trying to make a final little pass. Get all that cleaned up before I start sanding, because I will get rid of all that tear out. I have to sand for 20 minutes. I don't want to sand for 20 minutes. So that should be pretty good. Trying to wipe off all that excess sanding sealer before I turn this in. I didn't do that a while ago. And I've got sanding sealer all create the bottle. I've taken the 60-degree live center out of the tailstock there so I don't destroy my elbow. I want to get this to where I'm on center when I'm flat on the tool rest and parallel to the ground. And I'm there. And what I wanted that, and I went way bigger than it. But I'll come back after the fact, and I'll clean that foot up. I know that I need to be for my more completely closed that shape, but for this Vicmark 120, it needs to be about 67 across, and I'm about 60. I need to take just a little more off of that. And I want to try to put raise this up now. A little bit of a dovetail in there for that jaw, and that's going to be good enough. Oh yeah, let's measure it one more time. I'm going to just a tiny bit more. Deeper in that corner just a little. That's going to be pretty good. Let's see what happens if I sand the outside of this. Well, I'm gonna use that scraper again. Been running at 1,000 RPM. Trying to take just a whisper. Is that the right term? Hoping that with sanding sealer down into that grain that held it up better, and that's where all the bad tear out was. There's a horrible places right here, but those are like bug holes or something. Another bug hole, another bug hole, another minimal. There's tear out right there. I'm gonna try to sand it out. I'm gonna do it with 80 grit. I know better than to try to sand out, tear out. So here I am anyway. I didn't really worry about the bottom of that foot. I'm sure it looks pretty horrible. And I'm not going to try to get the detail right around my foot with this 80 grit. So I'll wait a little bit. I got to tell you what, right here and right there, that's the only tear out left in the bowl. Okay. No, I'll sand a little bit more right there, and I need to sand here. There's no doubt about it. Let's look at this rim. Need to spend a little more time on the rim. I'm going to try to get up here a little bit. Find a good place. And the sandpaper yet. This foot is not going to end up being that wide when I'm finished. Let's see what we have here. I'll clean that up in a little bit with another sandpaper. I'm going to move up to 120. Let's see how we're looking here. I think it's going to look pretty good. My problem areas are really gone. I'm not worried about these holes from those bugs at all. A bunch of tiny ones. The tear out itself is gone. I don't see any tool marks. I don't have any swirling marks from the previous grit. Let's try to clean up around this foot. Let me look at the bottom of this because I'm going to clean it up a little bit. And then I'll sand it. I want to make sure it's at a good angle here. I want to see. Okay, it is curving in a little bit. I can see a little gap on the insides. I mean, just barely, 30 seconds of an inch or something. But what I'm looking for, I'm going to sand that some more now. Get my dust collection back over. Alrighty. Gosh, I can't believe 37 minutes has went by already. Seems like I work faster than that. Right. This is a 280. I'll pull my chair up here. Save me from leaning over to look at this. I think it's looking really nice. I'm gonna throw that sandpaper away, except these edges are still pretty good to get around the foot. I'm trying to leave that little bead, and I sanded about half of it away. It's still something that draws your eye a little bit, so I'm gonna leave it. Okay, let's see what this stuff is looking like. Pretty. Really not worried about anything inside of there. I'll flip this thing around when I'm done. Got all the dust off of this. I'm looking for tear out. I don't see any. I won't find that until later. And you know I'll find it. I'm going to take some of this Hampshire Sheen Danish oil, and I'm going to put it on the outside of this. I want that to dry. Let me turn this thing on. Burnish it a little bit with this paper towel. Help add a little heat there. I went to open this Danish oil the other day, and it was basically glued on. So it opened easy today. Okay, I'm gonna put this stuff on pretty thick. I'm gonna let it soak in. Sure, make this version. So the same shit Danish. No, penetrate what? So if you're watching this after the live, leave a comment like, which can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? All right. Could you hear the ducks collection, or was that being removed with the microphone? Curious. That Danish oil is tung oil based. I'm gonna lay that little rag out to dry. Don't know what the likelihood of it is, but I don't want it self-combusting on me. And I'm gonna take just a little more paper towel that's dry, and anything that's left on here on the outside I'm trying to pull up. It's pretty, real pretty. Let me change to the overhead only. See if it'll focus there. Yeah, you can see how pretty that wood really is. That's the area where I had tear out. I think it's gone. I mean, it looks like there could be tear out right there, but those are little bug holes. Like, you know, it's not a tear out. Although, right, that might be a little tear out. I'm gonna live with it. I think it's okay. Let me see if I can get more of this off of there. You can see the discoloration in the towel where there's still some dampness there. So yeah, I'm gonna put a coat right there. Right there. Man, it just looks like a little scuff. I'm gonna put the Mylands sanding sealer on here. I know it penetrates well, it dries fast. I think this is a brand new can. I can't open the dang thing. Okay. Once this is on there, I'm going to come over it with some abrasive paste. Because of that Danish oil on there already, I'm having trouble seeing where this stuff is. This is the full round trip there. I think I've got it everywhere. Okay, I'm going to turn this lathe on at about 500. Make sure this stuff is pretty darn good. On the outside. See that thing over here. It's combination in there. But so little, just like that. Okay, so I have this Yorkshire grit. I like the Yorkshire grit. Working it in here, and you can really feel the grit of it as you work it in by hand. Feels nice. After I work it in all the way around, I'll take the lathe and turn it on at 500 RPM, which is where it's at now. And using the same part of the paper towel that I've applied it with, I'm going to work it in. And the idea is this stuff takes your finish from about, 400 or something like that. I don't remember what they say exactly. From like 400 grit to about 1,000 grit, because as you work this stuff in, the pumice or whatever that's in here breaks down, getting finer and finer, and improves your finish. So let's turn this thing on and spin it a little bit. I like to move this paper towel around, making sure that every place on it that's wet with that wax gets used during this time, because that's where there's grit. And I want to start off with that grit and working it everywhere. And then go to a clean place. I can see you can see that you are not clean working. I want to make sure that more. I can see that this there's here. Still clean top of the paper, which taking somebody's parts started turning less that Rotate this thing to a clean spot. Gosh, there is very little on there now, but there's still a little. I think it's pretty much off there. Let's just see what it's looking like. It's pretty. There might be this slight bit of film from it on there yet. pretty well. Definitely an eighth of an inch off of it. And I'll round the top a little bit after I've taken that eighth of an inch off, so it's going to look thinner than it does now. Let's find my tool. I think I'm going to start with this 5/8 inch Thompson. I'm sorry, Robert Sorby gouge. Dust collector on. Hope you guys don't hear it much. I'm way high. I'm still just a tad higher than I want. My tool's bouncing around. I never trued that edge up. I trued up right through here. Okay, let's get an idea of thickness here. It's thick. Okay, let's get down in there. Okay, let's see where we're at here. Where we're at is I have a drawer underneath the stand that I left partially open, and now it's full of shavings. So I have a little gap underneath here. When I built this Nova DVR XP, when I bought it with a stand, and I got it home and it was the wrong stand. It was for the Galaxy or something. They gave me the wrong stand. They didn't have a new one. I had this bench sitting here, and I thought, well, I'll just mount it to the bench. But you mount it to the bench, and then it's flat across, and you get all this stuff inside of here. You can't get it cleaned out. So I put a couple of 1-inch pieces of plywood on each end to mount it to give me a little space. And now I have this piece of wood that I slide into that space that gives me a little more work surface here for doing things like um, stain, dye, finishes, whatever, a place to put a bottle of something. And it also gives me a little tool for just scraping out stuff that is sliding right into a trash can that I moved over here, instead of just ending up on the floor where 70% of it was anyway. Okay, so now where am I? I've got these digital calipers here, but I tell you, compared to a lot of you, I'm pretty new at, you know, new. These are sort of new, man. They're just, I'm not real good at using them yet. So I've got these, and that's where I'm at down there right now. Let's see here. I'm there. That's not bad. Here, I'm a little wider, so I need to, even starting here, even here, I'm already wider for sure down through that area. So need to address that, and I need to do it pretty quick. Otherwise, it's going to chatter so much and move so much, I won't be able to address it later. Up there, but I'm still yeah. Let's see where I'm at here. There's a ridge right here. Need to get rid of it. Other than that, I'm pretty good. I'm going to use the scraper to get rid of it. Okay. Put some tools away there. Getting so much on my lathe or on the tabletop. Can't see what's going on. Okay, I'm good till there. Need to raise the scraper. I'm gonna tilt it in a little too. Okay, I just used that scraper to hog out a bunch of material. And I'm good till there now. I'm actually good all the way across the bottom. I just need to get rid of the hump a little bit that's there. And just barely tool rust in the way. Let's see if that clears it up, and it does. So I'm going deeper in the middle and feathering out. Okay, let's let's see where that takes me. I see a bunch of tear out. Okay, I'm in good shape. I like it. I'm going to sand. We're going to see how this 80 grit does against the little bit of tear out that's in there. And then we'll decide what to do here. The tear out is actually really bad there. That's where that punky wood was on the outside. I want to round that corner a little bit. It makes it look thinner. I don't have an issue with the thickness of this bowl at all. This isn't the hardest wood in the world, so it sands up a lot. The dust collection is pulling in most of that dust. You can see it swirl around on the camera. What you can't see is it coming back underneath the bowl and into the dust collection, which is what it's doing. I'm gonna stop. Okay, bug holes. Tear out is gone. We're moving up. Okay, gonna be 120. Let me find a new piece of 120 here. Okay, I have one of these little sanding manuals for every grit, but the sandpaper that was on this one was in horrible shape. Okay, I'm gonna grab that 180 again. And wipe that out. Whoop! Oh man! Let the sandpaper go under the bowl.
I'm really not putting much pressure on. I put too much pressure on those previous bits. And I'm going to go ahead and hit some 400. A little bit. That's isopropyl alcohol. And that is pretty. Like, real pretty. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did on the outside. I'm going to put a little Danish oil on it. Here's the paper towel I was using for it. I'm just going to use it more. That should dry off of there pretty quick, that isopropyl. This is really a pretty piece of wood. It's the kind of wood that you don't want to mess it up. I want to put it on thick. I want to make sure that it absorbs in every place it's gonna. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the outside. Come back with the Mylands sanding sealer. If we go to the top, can you see it? That top ends up being, it's 3/8 or something. That angle, it's a pretty subtle OG. I think I did a decent job on it. Tell you what, there's none of this on the surface. I'm gonna wet this paper towel down again with some more.
This is one of the prettier pieces of wood I've had the pleasure to work with. It really is just gorgeous. Okay, that's good. Dropped my lid into the shadings. I don't use this Danish oil as much as I wish I did. I've used a third of it, and I know that I should, wait overnight, put a coat on, something like that. Trying to keep the inside food safe, all that. This stuff is marked food and toy safe. This is the little piece of towel that I was applying it with, and I'm just going to burnish in with it for a little bit. Then I'm going to take a clean piece and try to burnish and dry with it. I'm trying to rush up something that's probably hours of waiting into minutes of waiting. And sometimes I'll just take me outside and go again on it, even though it had a little bit of something else on it. I can hear all those little bug holes hitting my finger right there. Okay. Set that one out to dry. Don't need any shot fires from it. Yet again, more clean paper towel. Okay, so I'm going to take this off of there, take a look at it, and going to end this live stream. I might do a couple more coats of this Danish oil on the inside, maybe the outside over the top of that shellac or whatever I put on it. I'm sorry, Mylan's cellulose sanding sealer. Um, and then I got to figure out how I'm going to take the foot off of this. I normally use cold jaws for it, but I think this bowl is probably a little bigger than my cold jaws. And I'll have to play with a vacuum chuck to see if it's going to hold where these bug holes are. I have a feeling, I'm pretty sure that bug hole probably goes all the way through. I know that these do right here. I can see them on both sides. So we'll have somebody use this for popcorn or chips or something like that. This is not a super salad bowl unless you want that stuff easing out. Man, what is? It looks like in the camera that you're seeing tear out or something there. But I gotta tell you, I am not seeing it. I don't know what that. I think it's just coloration in that wood or something we're seeing there on the camera. That is not tear out. Anyway, let's take this thing off of there, see what it looks like. So it's a good looking bowl. I like my foot on it. I think that foot's gonna sit nice. I don't like a big tall foot under my bowls, but I like a noticeable foot. We'll do something in the middle there. If I left a little thickness in the bottom, let's see what we did there. There's my calipers. So it's like that. It's over a quarter probably. That's probably 3/8 of an inch or something in the middle. An eighth of an inch of that's going to come off, and so that bottom's going to be about a quarter inch deep. I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with it. It's a good looking bowl, and I guess that's it. I see one person in. Hope you're doing okay today. Just finishing up this bowl, and that ambrosia maple is pretty. It's got a little bit of oil on it. I'm going to put a little bit of a finish on it here in a little bit. But it's this was supposed to be a pre-football game live, and it's now it's 12:50, so I've missed the first 50 minutes of the football game I was going to watch. So I better get on that. All right. Thank you, everybody. And we'll talk again soon.